Never waste a good crisis. And when it comes to the economic crisis, don't waste it when it can have a very positive impact.
You never want a serious crisis to go to waste.
The way we're going to win over the long term is not just militarily. We've got to win over hearts and minds. And what that means is we've got to invest in countries that have no educational infrastructure, have no means for young people to get ahead. We've got to give them a stake in creating the kind of world order that I think all of us would like to see.
Stay tuned for politics and religion.
This coming from Hawaii, the governor of Hawaii has vetoed a same-sex civil union bill. Hawaii's governor on Tuesday vetoed legislation that would have permitted same-sex civil unions, ending weeks of speculation on how she would weigh in on the contentious, emotional debate. Republican Governor Linda Lingle's action came on the final day she had to either sign or veto the bill, which the Hawaii legislature had approved in late April. Lingle said, "There has not been a bill I have contemplated more or an issue I have thought more deeply about during my 8 years as governor than House Bill 444 and the institution of marriage. I have been open and consistent in my opposition to same-sex marriage and find that House Bill 44 is essentially same-sex marriage by another name." Well, someone finally has a little common sense. Civil unions equals same-sex marriage. Same-sex marriage equals civil unions. They are all sodomy. They are all an abomination in the sight of God. And here we have a politician with the backbone to stand up against it and say, it's simply wrong. I am against it. God is against it. The Bible is against it. Now, in the meantime, yesterday was an important day in Israeli-American relations. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with President Barack Obama for quite a while at the White House. Their discussions were far-reaching. We don't know everything they talked about, but after reading quite a number of reports and listening to the press conference, we can come to certain conclusions. A lot of people were concerned about the expiring freeze on building in the West Bank. Here was the answer. Well, we are hoping to start direct negotiations before the freeze transpires or expires in the latter part of September. So this has become somewhat of a prod to the Palestinians. Let's not delay any longer. We've had these proximity talks long enough. It's time for us to get serious. It's time for us to sit down and let's get a peace agreement done. So President Obama and Benjamin Netanyahu both agreed that they should move as quickly as possible. Now, if they do start direct talks, it's highly doubtful that Netanyahu will, right in the middle of those talks, actually lift that freeze. He will find a way, undoubtedly, to delay it for a while if talks are making any progress whatsoever. Now, another subject that was discussed by Obama and Netanyahu was, of course, Iran. Ever since becoming the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu has said over and over again that the world's number one priority should be stopping Iran from having a nuclear weapon. We know that in recent weeks, the United States of America has sent some very strong signals to Iran, letting them know we will not tolerate you obtaining a nuclear weapon. Well, in these talks yesterday, it appears that Obama made a commitment. At the same time all this was going on, Senator John McCain, Joseph Lieberman, and Lindsey Graham were visiting in Israel. They had some very strong statements to make. Senator Lieberman used some very harsh language at the Wednesday press conference in Israel to describe the Iranian nuclear program, saying the U.S. must do everything it can to stop Iran from becoming a nuclear power. Now listen to this. The U.S. will address the Iranian threat through diplomatic efforts and economic sanctions if we can, but through military action if we must, said Lieberman. The only question is, does Joseph Lieberman have the clout to speak for this administration, or does he not? Even though there's a lot of conversation about the Iranian nuclear threat, and it's been reported that the head of the CIA believes they have enough nuclear material to make 2 bombs right now, only not the ability to do it yet. Yet the words military action have not been used, so this is unusual. Do you ever suspect that there is a big plan that is controlling the course that our world is taking? Have you wondered who is behind this plan? Who the big players are? Today, we will pull back the curtain and discover what this plan really is. It's time, once again, for politics and religion.
Look, there are 2 things I don't discuss: politics and religion.
In my house, we don't talk about politics and we don't talk about religion.
I'll talk to you about anything except politics and religion.
I never talk about politics and religion.
Politics determines how we'll live here on earth. Religion determines how we'll live forever. I'm Irvin Baxter. I think it's time we talk about it.
So let me ask you this question. Is there a plan somewhere, whether it's in the files of the Bilderbergers or the G20 or the G8 or the Council on Foreign Relations or the Trilateral Commission, is there a plan somewhere, or in all of the above as far as that's concerned, for the shape that our world will see? We know that President Obama talks about a world order that we all want to see. We know that many people, many politicians, Gordon Brown, Prime Minister of Great Britain until recently, loved to talk about the New World